Hello reefers! So I want to touch on the subject of cycling just a little bit, because what I'm actually doing here with these tanks that I'm building and putting together is not cycling. What I'm taking is established media, established live rock, adding it to my aquarium, and then I can add the corals and the fish pretty quickly. So I'm not having to cycle the whole thing. If I was starting a tank from scratch with dry sand and dry rock and brand new filter media that I'm putting in my filter, then yeah, you'd have to cycle, right? You'd have to cycle by adding ammonia and nitrifying bacteria and different things. There's a lot of ways that you can go about it. But what I'm doing is kind of like just moving a tank from one place to another. If I had this tank full of live rock that had been established for a year, and fish and sand and corals, and I just wanted to take this tank, the stuff that's inside this tank, and move it to another tank, that wouldn't really be called cycling, would it? It would just be called moving a tank. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here. The live rock I purchased online, and it kind of does, a lot of it dies off and it produces a lot of ammonia, which is why you saw in my previous videos I was cooking the live rock. All that was allowing everything that was dead to just kind of completely die off, turn into ammonia and turn into nitrite, nitrate, and then I just got it, shook the rocks off and put them in the brand new tank, and that took a couple of months, right? Because unless you have the live rock shipped to you in a tub of water that that everything's transferred, then everything will be okay. But it takes 5 days to get to me. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. But let's say you actually, some of the stuff that I purchased or obtained locally through local reefers, if you go on your internet social media sites, there are a lot of people, a lot of aquarium owners, saltwater reefists that are out there trading corals, live rock, fish, aquariums, like all this stuff, right? And so you can get yourself some live rock from some local reefers, add it to your tank, boom, you've got an instant cycle tank because you have that bunch of live rock. You don't want to get live sand from local reefers. Who knows what's in there? Even your best reefers might not know what's in the sand. It's kind of nasty. So don't get the sand. Get the live rock though. You can stick it in your tank if you're afraid of maybe there might be some. Don't add sand in the bottom of your tank. If you're afraid of worms and aptasia and all kinds of different things, which you should be, put them in your tank, your bare bottom tank, with pump going, with filter going, with all that stuff going. Test your water. The priority here is you gotta test your water. Test your water daily on a brand new tank for the first month or so. Test your water daily. Don't be afraid. Just get in there and do the tests. Quick. Don't worry about messing them up. Don't worry if you're doing it correctly, incorrectly. It'll smooth out as time goes. Just start testing from day one. But anyway, put your live rock in there. You can take something, if you want to test it before adding your fish, which I highly recommend, to make sure that your live rock is able to take ammonia and convert it to nitrate and then to nitrite and then nitrate, right? Get yourself some ammonium chloride. This one in particular is the Fritz brand, and it tells you here how much. It's dry, right? It's not the wet stuff, it's the dry stuff. The powder stuff, or granular, whatever you want to call it, and it tells you how much here to add per gallon. You add that in there, and it tells you how much it's going to bring, how many parts per million it's going to bring your ammonia levels to. And so what you can do, as soon as you add this, like mix it up right in water first, and then pour it in there and get it all mixed up. And once it's there, test your ammonia. Make sure you got the 5 parts per million, or maybe you don't want to get that high. Maybe you only want to get 1 part per million. So add it accordingly. And then you want to check for nitrites and nitrates. And if by the end of the day in a 24-hour cycle, you've got some nitrates in there that weren't there before, and your ammonia has gone back down to 0, then you know you're doing pretty good. That live rock is working. This is how you do an Insta tank, right? Like in a week, into 2 weeks, you can get yourself set up. Now my tank, I took 2 months to get that thing going. It looked like I did it in one day, but I took 2 months. If you watch all my videos, you'll see where I had the live rock and I had it sitting in this 20 long, I had it sitting in a bucket, I had, you know, blah, 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 before I finally added it to the tank with all the brand new dry rock, right? And some people thought, well, that's not enough live rock to cycle the ammonia, but I tested twice a day. As soon as you add your fish in here, test twice a day. You can test 3 times a day. You can test as many times as you want. But yeah, make sure you stay on top of it. And if you start seeing spikes that aren't being taken care of, like if you see a spike and it's not coming back down, you've seen a plateau or whatever it is, be prepared to do water changes, right? So have your salt water available on hand when you first add your fish. Be prepared to do 100% water change. Do 100% water change all at once. Maybe you'll do 50% today, 50% tomorrow, another 50%, you know, keep doing 50, 50, 50. This is just my views, my opinions on how I've dealt with the cycle. I hope you enjoy the rest of this Nano build. It's been kind of fun. It's nice putting that little build together. Now I'm building this one, which is I'm kind of experimenting with different filters, but that'll be a video to come. Let's enjoy this 10-gallon Nano. So looked up on YouTube how to catch fish. One of these really cool fish contraption catchers, and I'm going to use a magnet. Okay, so now we have our little Nano tank kind of established here. Water's clean, crisp and clear. This is water from the 150, so now the only thing that's different in here is that sand. That's brand new sand in there, but I washed it completely clean, so there's nothing live or dead in there, except for the sand is dead. So we're gonna start re-establishing that with some of our live rock enhance, which worked really well before, so we're gonna continue it in the Nano tank here. Our filter media in the back there, which we're probably gonna rearrange a little bit, but we don't want to get in and out of there too many times, so we're just going to kind of leave it alone for now. We don't have any lights on right now. We're upstairs. There's some more ooh, look at that, on command, huh? That's hilarious. I don't think I hit record on any of that. I failed as a photographer. Here we are putting our little fish contraption to work. And as you'll see in a hot, quick second, my magnet's not strong enough. Probably that container is a little bit too long and should be round, so it can kind of, like the one that they sell, it can kind of just scoop up and the fish won't even be annoyed by it. We eventually ditched the entire idea. There's a lot of footage on here of us trying to get it onto the glass again, and it just never worked out for us. So now we're going to try and put a little bit of food in there. You can see the food kind of a little bit floating at the top there. Fishies are kind of interested. They look up there, but they never really head into the container. So we ditch it and we go for the net. But we're not going to try and scoop it up with that little green net that you see there. I have a spaghetti strainer off to the left, which of course I didn't get on video, but if you hit pause, you would have seen it on the reflection of the glass. And you can pause again here-ish, and yeah, there's a spaghetti strainer that we used. I already put the fishy inside. All right, let's go do a catch and release thing upstairs. Take care of these lights after. I'll come back and take care of these lights afterwards. Wow. Wow. Gotta get down from this. Alright. Here we go.
A lot of water. There we go.
Hey. Alright, you little bubbly. You look pretty in here. Very nice.
Oh.
She's really good at that, isn't she? Pretty gentle. So here's the Nano setup, the 10-gallon, complete with auto top off, fresh water. You can see it's has quite the amount of macroalgae in there. Most of it's doing really well. A couple pieces there, like that one, I just rescued from the big tank, and hopefully I'm going to turn it around. But our little dude's happy as a clam. The lights just popped on, so the zania might take a while to open, and the leather might take a while. You can see it's not open. My little raspberry fruit leather there, and my lemon lime fruit leather down here. But the Recordia is doing pretty nice. And the GSP hasn't quite come out yet. Some of it's out, some of it's not out. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. That was the Insta tank because of the live rock and the filter media that I already had going for ages now. Spicy Reef here, signing off.
Now what are you doing?
I think I got it.
How do you know if it's up or down?